Good morning. It's not morning, it's not a school day. Good evening, everyone. Let's begin today with a prayer. You can pray responsively after me or pray silently in the words of your own heart. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, friend, beloved God, great saints and sages of all traditions, divine light within, bless this occasion. Bless the young people we are celebrating today. May their lives be filled with nobility, strength and courage, kindness and compassion. May the lessons they have learned inform their lives, helping them to draw meaning from every life experience. And may they carry all that they are out into the world to be a gift to others through service, through friendship, for being simply who they are. Om, peace. Amen. So this is one of the best days of the year. Not only has so much been accomplished, but we come together to celebrate these young people and also the essence of our school. Our school is a place that isn't just an education of the mind, but it's an education of the heart and spirit. And everything that we do, we try to infuse with lessons and tools that help them to live with strength and with courage and all of the qualities that make for a rich and meaningful and beautiful life. In the midst of a world that, I don't know about for you, but for me often feels unsettled and unpredictable, there's really only one thing that we can count on, which is what's happening inside of us. And if we have gained mastery over our own self, then everything we walk into, we have a centered place to respond from. Essentially, we have our own consciousness to help us act as we wish in the world rather than being an effect. We can be a cause. And so as you listen today to the speeches that are given, try and listen for the underlying lessons and the qualities of being that are being shared about, because every single one of the speakers today has walked through a process of either consciously or unconsciously cultivating, working with, challenge, and transforming it into a gift, a skill, an ability, a power that they can then use as they go through their day-to-day life, both in high school, but after high school, in university, in careers, in family life, in friendships, in all of the moments that they'll encounter. They're gathering a bouquet of strengths, of maybe superpowers that will help them to navigate and find wisdom, even in sometimes the darkest of moments. And so I invite you today to really pay attention to the wisdom that they're cultivating, because it can also inform and touch and inspire our lives. For those of you who've never witnessed one of these ceremonies, we call it a quality ceremony, and each student typically is gifted or recognized for a quality that has been chosen by their peers and faculty. The faculty ultimately does the final kind of assessment of what was the seed of wisdom, the essence of their year. But we did it a little bit differently this year. So all of the community reflected on each person, Ethan and Lucia and Krish and Niko and others, and everyone nominated everyone else in the community for a quality, kindness, generosity, strength of heart, whatever it might be. And we had a watering ceremony where we came together and each person had a moment to hear just a waterfall of all of the beautiful qualities that their friends and their teachers and their mentors see in them. And usually the next step would be then, we as a faculty would say, Ethan, we really feel that the essence of your year has been your growth in this particular quality, but we didn't do that this year. The teenage years are a time of essential growth in the skill or the quality of being of willpower. And so we invited each person to reflect for themselves on what they felt they had been putting energy into and had been building, with the intention of it being a more personal and introspective and therefore powerful process. And so today the qualities that you're hearing are not qualities that we've chosen because we see it in them, but because they see it in themselves. And I invite you to really listen. There are some themes that come back again and again and again, which are very appropriate because they're moving through a similar period of life. But you'll see this taking on life as a battle to find and win and conquer over challenge and to persevere towards joy. And you'll hear it whispered in all of the different speeches today, the struggles that they've encountered and how they've faced into those moments with courage and with strength, and they've found a way through. Please join me in honoring all of them with your attention and with your care and your love, and we look forward to sharing with you in equal measure. The day, just so you know, will have several parts to it. We'll have a quality ceremony for the 9th through 11th grade. Then we'll be blessed with more music from the intermediate choir ensemble. And then we'll move into our graduation ceremony. Okay? So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our teachers.
All right, so first to the stage, I'll invite Ethan Young. Ethan, this year, Living Wisdom High School, and by your own selection, chooses to honor you for your expression of bravery.
Thank you, Keshava. Freshman year has been a challenge, but also a great success. Like most, I started off the year shy and nervous. I was afraid to take on tasks thrown my way, afraid to talk to others, and could not focus in classes. They were too hard, too challenging, too overwhelming, so I took the easy way out, the path of least resistance, or more clearly stated, avoidance. But that only served me so long. I realized if I didn't take a more active role, I wouldn't get the education that I wanted, wasting my potential. Finally, I gathered up the courage to overcome my fears by accepting the fact that my situation wouldn't get any better if I didn't take any action. Sooner or later, the progress I made this year even surprised me. I didn't know how capable I was until I discovered what I could do. I later found out through some self-reflection, all it took was the willingness and effort and some discipline on my end if I wanted to succeed in making a change to my education. One fear I have overcome this year is stage fright. In performing arts class, I had difficult time performing monologues in front of my classmates or participating in acting games. I started to notice I needed to put a little more energy and effort into my classes if I wanted to enjoy my time at Living Wisdom. So I started to try to become more centered with myself and not worry about what the audience thought of me. Soon enough, I was able to perform in front of an audience without any problem. Now, at the end of the school year, I feel much more confident and brave. The accomplishment I feel best about this year is learning to focus in class. At the beginning of the year, I either didn't want to focus or didn't know how to. Again, I came to the realization if I didn't focus, I wouldn't get the fullest out of my classes. I also felt bad since I knew my teachers were putting out a lot of effort to teach us, and I didn't want to waste their time. Therefore, I was motivated to start focusing. It took some time, but I eventually managed to actively engage. It feels much better now not only to be able to focus, but to enjoy my classes. Next year, I hope to further improve in every subject and have the courage to live to my fullest potential. Thank you.
Lucia Koftinoff. This year, Living Wisdom honors you for your expression of willpower.
Thank you, Keshav. Looking back on this year, the quality that jumped out at me was willpower, specifically the control over my willpower. So what exactly is it? I've been trying to figure it out all year. The dictionary defines it as the ability to resist short-term gratification for a longer-term goal, which is one thing if I have to forego my usual walk in order to go powerlifting, but is entirely another when I'm struggling academically with a subject which makes no sense to me. As I found out at the beginning of the year, I actually do have lots of willpower, but I directed it only towards the things that mattered to me, rather than everything that needed my attention. Throughout this past year, I have tried many different things to get my work done well, whether it be asking for teachers' help after class or simply making time each day to study. It didn't take long for me to realize that by simply using willpower to put a little more focus and effort into the things I was reluctant to do, everything became easier. Gradually, I even started to enjoy learning the more challenging subjects, such as math and Spanish. I became aware that if you set your intentions on the work that needs to be done, as hard as they may seem, you actually become more time efficient and reduce the work in the long run. With a new understanding of my own willpower, throughout the coming years, I seek to continue building my mental strength and discipline and use that strength to tackle even tougher challenges ahead.
Krish Chetty. Krish, this year, Living Wisdom honors you for your expression of self-effort.
Thank you, Keshav. Over this past school year, I have developed willpower and self-effort. In the beginning of the school year, I struggled with procrastination. I'd wait until the last day to complete assignments, and in many cases, I wouldn't do them at all. As this went on, my grades were falling. I realized I had to change my habits. One class I found very hard since the beginning of the school year is physics. My grade was barely passing. As my missing assignments started to pile up, I knew I had to put in more effort into my work. I began asking teachers for help, and sometimes even for extra credit work. I started to engage more in class by asking questions when I didn't understand something. As this went on, my grades started to improve. The subject didn't feel as boring or as confusing anymore. I put in a lot of willpower, but especially during spring break, when I completed all my missing homework. This showed me the value of willpower, doing things even if I didn't want to. Over this year, I realized the more I dedicated to my classes, the more I started to enjoy them. By putting in more willpower and effort, I was able to improve my grades not only in physics, but in all other subjects. Thank you.
Oh, man. All right, I didn't practice this, so I'm sorry. Say it again? All right, Nikolai Bespamyatnov. Close enough. All right, Nico, this year, Living Wisdom honors in you the expression of maturity.
Thank you.
If there was one thing I could tell my 8th grade self, it would be this: let life lead you. My 8th grade self was very persistent in manifesting his own destiny. Everything needed to be under my control, and everything needed to be my choice. Therefore, anytime there was some unknown in my life, I would try my hardest to remove it. That is how I initially perceived this school, as something unknown, new, and weird. Coming from a small school, I was craving a big social environment. Then out of nowhere, this school came along, and I was immediately against going here. The small, only 20-kid environment made me reject this opportunity immediately. But whatever life knows you need best, it will force you to have it. So life, seeing I was rejecting this opportunity, forced me to go. Weeks had gone by, as school started with me rejecting and disliking everything around me. But out of nowhere, I started to learn new things about myself, started getting legitimate life advice from my teachers, and just improving as a person. And then I realized, life puts things in your course for you. There's no need to force things into your life of overbearing control. It just gives, and always with a reason. Throughout my year at Living Wisdom, I found many things that changed in me that I didn't even know existed. It showed me that I need to focus on self-improvement over increasing my social life, maturing over wasting time, learning over memorizing, enjoying over liking, and frankly, increasing real happiness over unfulfilling pleasures. Thank you.
All right, Adah Weingrod. Adah, this year Living Wisdom honors you for your quality of responsibility.
Allow me to paint you a picture. It is my freshman year. I am very behind in my history reading, so I've been once again forced to read the history book to Keshva on the couch. I am wearing goofy green pants with white stripes and my elementary school t-shirt from the 3rd grade. I finish reading the chapter, finally look up, and realize Keshva has been asleep for some time. Parent-teacher-student conferences roll around, and Hazi and Keshva are not pleased with my work, or lack thereof. I did not do a lot of my homework or study enough. Instead, I enjoyed sharing fun facts about dragonflies and Mormonism. The teachers asking us questions about the reading didn't seem to appreciate my contributions as much as I did. They say I need to be more responsible. I have a summer to consider this. 10th grade arrives. I stroll in wearing a 3-piece suit. I will not let my wardrobe give the impression of laxness, carelessness, or goofiness. My socks are seafoam green with yellow polka dots, and my pants are tucked into my socks. This outfit change reflects an outlook change. I only share relevant information that pertains to the lesson. I study, and school is a lot easier, despite taking on 2 new extracurriculars, powerlifting and orchestra. Correlation or causation? We'll never know. I discovered that doing well in school is not about maintaining the same study habits day after day, but about improving your studying over time. The best way to study today might not be as effective as a strategy you discover tomorrow. I was striving for perfection. Now I'm aiming for improvement. When my goal was perfection, I wouldn't try when I thought I wouldn't be able to do something to an acceptable level. I started thinking about myself not as someone who goes to school, but as someone who is trying to become the most excellent at school. Instead of avoiding studying, I tried to find the most efficient way to study. Do not let this give you an impression that I got perfect grades. However, I have improved my grades across the board. If this trend continues, next year I will be perfect. I would like to end with a poem that I am reminded of. The way to perfection is narrow and steep. The bypaths are many, the pitfalls are deep. By theory alone, many hope to arrive. Here's one who could teach them, if he were alive.
All right, Anya Sirimalle. Neil, this year Living Wisdom honors you for your expression of dynamic engagement.
Thank you, Keshva. In the beginning of my school year, I did not realize the importance of my classes, which made it hard to engage. They are too complicated, like physics class, boring like English, or awkward and embarrassing like theater arts. In physics, I often spaced out. In English, I only skimmed through our reading assignments, and in theater arts, I tried to avoid participating. I understood I had to take action about this matter because I could not keep this up forever, but I just didn't have the will to do so. This went on until after the Italy trip. Only after returning from Italy did I realize that engaging in topics is crucial. You see, when we were in Florence, we visited the Uffizi Gallery, a gallery full of beautiful pieces of art, some of the most famous pieces of the Renaissance, but I was tired and bored. I was not willingly engaging, and because of that, I did not enjoy the Uffizi Gallery at all. The more I reflected back on that experience, the more I felt like I wasted an opportunity to learn and grow. Once back in school, I felt like I was wasting time not being engaged in the topics covered in class. If I had to take those classes anyways, why not enjoy them instead of wasting the opportunity? I realized that if I wanted to enjoy my classes, I was going to have to willingly engage. It was not easy though. I still caught myself slipping in physics class and zoning out in theater arts, but I was proud of myself for taking the first few steps. Now, towards the end of the year, I find myself actually enjoying my classes. What changed wasn't the classes, but me. I now put effort into physics. I now look forward to whatever is going to happen next in whatever we are reading in English class. Even in theater arts, I enjoy putting myself out there and having a good time. The lesson I took away from this experience is school can be so much more interesting if I engage to the fullest. This was an important lesson, and I hope I will carry this through the rest of my high school years. As Chesterton put it, there are no uninteresting subjects, only uninterested people. Thank you.
Anya Sirimalle. Anya, this year Living Wisdom honors you for your quality of courage.
Thank you, Keisha. It was May 2024, finals week, and I was consumed by stress. The math final loomed over me like some gathering waters of some civilization-ending tsunami, and I had no idea what to do about it. The simple thing was to go ask Hazi for help, but it didn't seem so simple to me. Hazi, who looked like my second grade teacher, who was tall, stern, and scared me every time I saw him. I had a hard time getting past that. That is, until Keshava hit me over the pillow a couple times and told me to ask Hazi for help. But I never did. Luckily, I was rescued when Hazi approached me and a few other students. I was saved, but not by my own courage. Maybe next time I would find it within me to face my fears. Then summer came. I had the opportunity to go scuba diving in Belize. I love the water, the ocean, the animals, but in the sea, the vast and unforgiving sea, I could not see myself far from land in a boat with only 8 people. On the first dive, to get in, we had to do a back roll into the water. I was petrified, but there was no turning back. I braced myself, flipped over the boat, and went headfirst into the water. Soon, all my nervousness dissolved beneath the waves. My life this year in 10th grade has been very much like that diving experience. Life has thrown me headfirst into deep and unfamiliar waters and asked me to swim. It's been terrifying, challenging, and at times exciting, but the most valuable thing I took from diving and this year was the same, that life's greatest adventures require courage. At the beginning of this year, I was worried about physics. Would I survive the first class? I heard it would be hard and include a lot of math. Dear God. And the teacher, Raman, who is also tall and, dare I say, stern. But things were different this time. Instead of waiting for Raman to approach me, I started asking Raman questions over Google Chat. I had to take this one step at a time, and even joined a Zoom call to understand the material before a midterm. I realized that asking for help is not something I should be afraid of, but an act of courage in itself. This school year has been very much like that diving experience. Now that I've surfaced, I can look back and learn from all the exciting, challenging, and terrifying experiences and teachers of sophomore year. Whatever comes next, whether a mountain, a dive, or a final, I'll be ready to take it with the plunge of courage. Thank you.
Kiran Tapaskar. Kiran Living Wisdom High School honors you for your expression of responsibility.
Thank you, Hazi. I was in Kshama's office talking about my classes for next year, but the only thing I heard was if you pass physics, that is. I sat there, fear washing over me. Thoughts kept flooding my brain. If I pass physics, what happens if I don't pass physics? Will I have to take physics again if I fail? The fear of failing shocked me so much that I started to reach out to Raman for the first time all year, asking if he could give me an extra credit project to bring up my barely passing grade. Thankfully he did, and I'm ever so grateful that he did. But this wake-up call wasn't was not just about physics. It was about how I need to take accountability and responsibility for everything in my everyday life, not just schoolwork. This experience also reflected in my math homework. Before, I wasn't trying or putting in effort, and just hoped that my procrastinating would get work done, when in reality it wasn't. I slowly got my work done. The fear of failure pushed me over the edge, making me take responsibility for my academics, and I'm grateful that I pushed myself to keep doing math, and with the help of my parents, once again reminding me to do a little extra math every day. I started to put in effort for my schoolwork, even if it took nudging from my parents here and there. Now I realize the things I learn in school will help me for the rest of my life. The simple study habits have taught us how to be disciplined, and the joy I feel from helping others. After really thinking about how I've grown this year, I noticed I grew in the quality of responsibility. Not only did this happen in school, but also outside of school. I can't help but wonder how this will affect my future. Will I be more responsible? Will I use this quality to help others around me? Or will I simply stay the same? All I can tell you now is that I've grown from the Kiran that started the school year slacking off and being lazy to having developed responsibility and accountability. Thank you.
Annika Madsen. Annika, Living Wisdom High School honors your expression of acceptance.
Thank you, Halsey. Sometimes the hardest part of learning isn't the subject, it's accepting the help. Throughout the year, I learned that if I accept what life gives me and take advantage of opportunities, I can improve my life significantly. And that acceptance started with math. I kept refusing help, convinced I had to do it all myself. But no matter how hard I tried, I was not getting far. And Shama and Hazi knew it. Finally, I realized I couldn't deny the reality of the situation any longer. I raised my hand more often, and I accepted Hazi's feedback. I began to actually understand the math and be able to complete my daily requirements just within the first period. It felt great. Another aspect of acceptance is embracing new experiences. An example of that is when we went to Italy. During our drive to Assisi, we were set to drive by an animation studio that has inspired my art journey. My friends began to urge me to go inside the actual office, to which I resisted. I was anxious that I would get in trouble and become embarrassed. Eventually, my friends managed to drag me inside, and I ended up having the most life-changing experience. I got a tour of their private studio, met one of those prestigious animators there, and even acquired his email afterward. If it wasn't for my friends, if I stayed outside like I planned, I wouldn't have had such a life-changing experience. It was their push that opened the door, literally, to a once-in-a-lifetime moment. These scenarios made me realize that if I jump on opportunities and accept the changes life gives me, I can go places I never thought I would have. Next year, I hope to cultivate being more easygoing. You never know where life will take you if you learn to just accept whatever comes your way. Thank you.
Hari Venkitachalam. Hari, Living Wisdom High School honors your expression of discipline.
Thank you, Ozzy. There is a family of white-breasted chickadees that nest in my yard. I often pass by them on the way to school and see them gathering twigs and foraging. While to the inattentive eye, these birds have the outward appearance of stupidity, seeming only half sentient and unable to perform differential calculus, I think of them as my mentors. These white-breasted chickadees are the most hard-working creatures I know. Each action they perform is precise. Each objective is realized with self-control, and each effort is made with discipline. I often wonder how I might be if I were as remarkable as these birds. Perhaps I could live with purpose, and perhaps I too could realize my goals. This year, I've made great efforts to be like the chickadee. Countless vertebrae have been shattered, and countless calluses have been torn in the name of this ideal. I am, of course, citing my journey in mathematics, the most glorious of my worldly achievements. For those of you who may not know, rigorous calculus training is incredibly tedious. Its processes are both time-consuming and remarkably mundane. Knowing this, I strove to master its single variable entirety in just 6 months. As Hazi may recall, there were many instances in which I would have sooner submitted myself to the torments of Prometheus than continued with the subject. Despite this, I held firm, just as 300,000 other Americans taking Calculus 2 do every year. This is the essence of discipline. It is to issue consistent and deliberate effort despite inward circumstances. Having persevered, I am now like the chickadee, at least within the realm of mathematics. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ali. Okay. Alice Koval. Alice, Living Wisdom High School honors your expression of victory.
The fear of inadequacy and of failure is painful. Some people are more aware of this fear. It may be more prevalent in some people rather than in others, but the experience is universal. The fear of failure is not only useless, but a hindrance to our ability to succeed. It predisposes us to overthink and give up before we try, perpetuating the very feeling of failure that plagues us. However, we can change, and there is a way out. With the realization, however, we can change, and there is a way out, with the understanding that victory is not what you do, but who you are. What is success? Van Gogh died penniless. Does this mean he was a failure? His art was no less beautiful then, but his paintings today are selling for millions and are internationally recognized. What is failure? If a businessman earned more money than he could spend in a lifetime, what then? I'm not Van Gogh, and I haven't made my millions. So what does it have to do with me? As a high school student, it was easy to believe that my success was dependent upon the outcome of my grades, that my failure was determined by a letter. I had the perception that if I didn't receive perfect marks and honors credits, then I wasted time and lost a battle. I thought victory was achieved through outward and quantitative results. Imagine then my horror when I nearly failed a college Spanish midterm during my fall semester. It was during the midterm that I came the closest to failure, barely skimming over the surface of 60%. This was something new for me. How could I be so inadequate? How could I be so horribly, terribly, utterly a failure? But facing near failure taught me something more valuable. It was okay to get 60%. I was still living victoriously. The vicissitudes of life are inevitable, and we will have days that are more difficult than others. What makes people victorious by nature is who they are and how they respond to life's challenges. If one responds with a negative attitude of self-absorption and disappointment, one will continue living defeated. But if one has an attitude of self-expansion and creative solution finding, then one will rise to live in victory. Previously to the midterm, I had already put in hours, days, and months of work. That was victory in itself. After seeing the outcome of my grade, I thought creatively and worked together with one of my friends for extra credit. I continued to work hard and finished the class with high marks. It was not because I did certain tasks instead of others. It was because of the attitude I approached it with. It was a victory because of who I am.
Adah Koftinoff. Adah, Living Wisdom High School honors your expression of loyalty.
Junior year is a difficult year. And for me, it was no different, although my struggles took on a different form than the usual academic rigor. I struggled with schoolwork, yes, but that was a byproduct of my other struggles. In fact, my academic load was much lighter than a typical junior year schedule. Why then, you ask, was this such a challenging year for me? Well, it was a year of change. Change can be hard, and this year I was forced to acknowledge my reality. As I struggled to make important life decisions like future career choices, I was also learning how to manage relationships and responsibilities. I kept asking the question, how can I make it work, even when I don't want it to? I had an ice skating coach who ingrained in me certain thoughts. Why be sad? Just be happy. If something's hard, just do it. Don't be sorry, be better. Just make the jump. It's easy, he would scream from across the ice rink. And for some reason, that hasn't really worked. I keep thinking, I just have to be the best. But then I find myself falling short of that and feeling like a failure. The best skaters all have bad grades, so maybe that will also work for me. Well, my mentors here had a different idea. The subject which I strangely ended up devoting a lot of time to was math. I had given up on it, but Huzzy kept saying I had to do it or I couldn't skate. Well, that sucked. Because I couldn't just put in some time and call it a day. I had to do every little step correctly before I could move on. At first, I believed it was literally impossible. But as time went on, I began to see I was able to accomplish my work and be successful on my own. And at the end of the year, I received a 99.8% on the math final, which was highly disappointing. I wanted 100. How is this possible? Huzzy dragged me through the mud because he wanted me to know that I could succeed. As he said, mathematicians love tediously persuading people of what's true, and he wanted me to know what I was capable of, guiding me every small step of the way. And now, while I may not always believe in myself, and I definitely will doubt myself in the future, I am entering my senior year of high school with a greater understanding of just what can happen when I decide I want to do something. It was easy on the skating rink or at the piano because I had committed my loyalty to those arts. But without my loyalty to math or to economics or to chemistry, it just wasn't happening. However, the moment I found this school 4 years ago, I fell in love and I committed my loyalty to it. The culture here, its ideals, its vision, are beautiful and literally fill my heart with music. To my teachers, thank you for having endless patience with me as I kicked and screamed during all the subjects I didn't like. This was a year filled with challenges, not just for me, but especially for you. And I am ever grateful for your loyalty to my highest happiness.
Congratulations, Ada. Mariana Leaver. Mariana, Living Wisdom High School honors your expression of success.
Okay. Fear is one of the strongest human emotions. It's a survival instinct that has kept us alive for thousands of years by dissuading us from danger. But just as too much of anything is a bad thing, too much fear can overwhelm and cause more harm than good. This year, I've cultivated many fears. I was afraid of voicing what I wanted because I was afraid of people being mad at me and not liking me anymore. I was afraid I wasn't wanted by the people around me. I was afraid of letting down my parents. Most of all, I was afraid of confirming these fears. After all, what if they really were real? Because of this, I hid them within me and avoided at all costs acknowledging their existence. But hiding our fears only ever makes them stronger. Bottled up inside me, these fears grew and fermented. I felt increasingly frustrated, alone, disconnected, alienated from the people around me. This continued until finally I was forced to face these fears. Out in the open, they suddenly didn't seem so bad or scary after all. In the face of life, in all of its ever-changing glory, they began to seem small and insignificant. I confronted my fears, and I realized they don't hold nearly as much power as I give them. Fear's greatest weapon was making me believe that I'd been beaten before I even fought. As Winston Churchill said, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts."
Shreya Tiwari. Shreya Living Wisdom High School honors your expression of hope.
Thank you, Hazi. Paramhansa Yogananda states, "The season of failure is the best time for sowing the seeds of success." Unfortunately, this season's harvest has not been very successful for me. From the stunted potatoes of insecurity to the immature lettuce of despair I produced, it became clear that my foundation, the soil, was what had truly impacted the vegetables I grew in the garden of my heart. All the negativity that had sprouted in my life was a result of the fearful beliefs which were the bedrock of my responses to life. While I have left my garden in ruins, I have yet to find the magical seeds of success, in addition to a weed killer that can exterminate all the limitations in my heart. So how can the seeds of success ever take root in the cracks of such a broken foundation? Something I have found in the odyssey to beautify my garden is a fertilizer of hope, a wondrous liquid which effectively tranquilizes my restlessness and transforms it into peace. It was something I had received in small quantities throughout my life, but when I went to India, I was showered with hope. It was abundantly flowing like the teal waters of the Ganges River. I feel immensely blessed to have received it, and I know it hasn't come from my limited powers of magnetism, but rather the gifts my friends, my mentors, my peers, my parents, and God had given to me. This mere feeling of hope, which isn't mere at all, has the power to change the way I see myself, my attitude towards life, how I choose to move forward. Paramhansa Yogananda reminds us that failure is not an end, but a season, a time meant for planting, not despair. In the midst of disappointment and self-doubt, it is easy to overlook the quiet presence of hope. Yet it is often in these barren moments that hope reveals its true strength, not as a guarantee of immediate success, but as the courage to try again, to nurture what remains, and to believe in what has yet to grow. Hope is the unseen seed tucked into the soil of struggle, watered by grace and warmed by faith. It teaches us that even in our most broken seasons, something beautiful can still take root. Thank you.
May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may He hold you in His hand. May God hold you in the palm of His, hold you in the palm of His hand.
Well, it's very appropriate to recognize the teachers and mentors who have supported all of the students along the way. And it's also very appropriate that we are honoring this group as they prepare to graduate. But the truth is that there are people who hold it all together. And parents, I'm going to ask you to stand where you are. The graduates, seniors, parents, go ahead and stand up in the audience. I'd like to just take a moment and appreciate everything that you give. The selflessness of the path of parenthood is a path to true greatness, and all of you have devoted years and hours and hours and hours to bringing joy into these lives and also to helping them through all of the struggles that they faced. And look at what a victorious moment we've reached. So graduates, go ahead and take your appreciation to your families and then come back to the stage. We have two friends entrusted to keep those roses until the right moment when family is here. We actually are celebrating not only these graduates, but several sibling pairs this year, and one family had a conflict of graduation times, so they are honoring Nikki, Annie's brother, and then they'll be zooming over here in time to catch her speech and graduation as well. Okay, families, thank you. You can be seated. You guys can also take your seats. We'll be hearing from this group of 5 momentarily, but I also want to invite those of you who were here last year to remember back to Carter and Mia's graduation. And we shared at that time that we were honoring them in formality, but that they would be continuing with us for a little bit more of high school and then a gap year experience. And so I wanted to catch you up on where they are now. Carter, actually both of them, had just a tiny bit left that they needed to complete with high school. COVID had been a little bit disruptive to their journeys. But the truth is they both could have finished what they needed to do during the summer months, but they didn't. They were very insistent that they return to Living Wisdom in the fall last year, and they took the remaining credits and classes that they needed. And then we invited them to continue on, and they refused. And they both signed up again in January. And they just took a very, very light load with us, but they wanted to participate in the service adventure trip to India. And so they joined us for the 2 weeks in India, and then both of them finished in March and have gone on their way. And I want to share with you that Mia was accepted to Pratt Munson College of Art and Design in Utica, New York, and they will be studying illustration. And Carter will be studying engineering at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo this fall. Let's give both of them a round of applause. And now I will call up Nick. Where to begin? So Nick knew that Living Wisdom was his home before we did, and he may share some of that story with you in a moment. It was clear from the moment that I met him that he was a deep truth seeker and a very bright light. Innately conscientious, kind, and playful, Nick has been a dear friend to all of us. He's an elder brother to our younger classmen also. He's found that service to others is a path to tremendous joy and inner freedom. This spring, he stepped into leadership in the school, helping to support our service adventure trip in Italy, and Hazi and I were both immensely grateful for your help. If you enter our backyard on campus, you will be met with beautiful blooms, and all of those are compliments to Craig's. My husband just walked in and I saw him. To Nick's loving hand. Nick will continue his education as an intern in the Karma Yoga work program at Ananda Village this fall. He'll be specializing under the mentorship of the Master Gardeners of Crystal Hermitage Gardens. We celebrate with Nick his quality this year of hope. Congratulations, Nick.
Thank you so much. Bear with me. I did it. first nicknames, lovingly given to me by my parents, was Silverback. Was I an actual gorilla? No. Did I descend from misty-peaked mountains to defend my family? No. Was this a really strange way to start a speech? Yes. As an infant, my parents called me Silverback. Why? Well, I was a chunky baby. I had a lot of muscle and a lot of fat. So much so that I resembled the form and strength of a 300-pound ape. Now, I'm sure some of you are asking, why? Why is this 18-year-old talking about being a fat baby while he is actively graduating? Possibly the most important event in his whole life. To answer this question, I first ask you to look upon me with great concentration. All your energy directed single-pointedly into the depths of my being. Then, and only then, will the truth be deeply understood. Am I still a fat baby? No. It has been said that the only constant in life is change itself. From the birth of new galaxies to the next beat of your heart, change is undiscriminating in its consistency. I was once a baby, and now I am not. But aging alone is not why I am here. Changing alone is not why I am here. I am here because we, as humans, possess a great gift, one that rivals the mightiest of weapons. We do not have to bend and snap in the winds of change. We have the ability, in the unceasing gusts, to use their force to transform ourselves. I am here because of how, in the face of change, I have decided to grow. I am here because of how I've chosen to change. That takes us to the start of my time at Living Wisdom High School. Fresh off the heels of an emotional roller coaster, I needed something better. The life I knew was bleak and without meaning. I was hopeless. But one day, my mom called me over to her computer, and on her screen was the Living Wisdom High School website. It wasn't anything groundbreaking in regards to the website design, which is now no longer the case thanks to Sonia. But without warning, the floodgates of my heart opened, and a feeling I had never felt before surged through me. It was energizing and deeply moving, so much so that I began to cry. That wave of emotion, so foreign to me at the time, I now know was hope. That fleeting moment would mark the beginning of the most important decision of my life. That was the day I decided I wanted to change, that I was tired of being miserable, that I would attend Living Wisdom High School. I was so dedicated to that goal, in fact, that telling Shama came as an afterthought. But eventually, I brought it to her attention that I would join the school. It was not so much an application as it was a warning. That first day, I was determined to become better, happier, more joyful, but I was confused on how. I've only realized recently that change is not an instant thing, even though I want it to be. I often go through life with the expectation that I must be perfect, and I must be perfect now. And when I inevitably fail, I cannot fathom how I could have failed. I mean, I did everything I could possibly think of. So for a while, I would give up and lay down, wallowing in my failure. Imagine it like this. You're sitting around a campfire when you have a great urge for a gooey deliciousness, a s'more. So you gather the ingredients, stack them together, and take a bite, expecting the gooey goodness you've envisioned. But it sucks. It's cold, it's crumbly, it does not make you ask for some more. If anything, it makes you ask for some less. So you give up, dropping the disappointment sandwich. The s'more must be a myth, like a leprechaun, or getting a 100% in Hazi's class. But what's this? You look over to see your friend holding the perfect s'more, the one you dreamt of, and it gives you hope. Life is worth living. All is not lost. If they can do it, so can I. You try again, only this time you find the missing ingredient, fire. Duh. How else is the marshmallow supposed to melt? It's so simple, even a baby could do it. So, full of pride, you walk to the fire with marshmallow in hand, believing that the s'more is promised with the simple application of heat. And with full force, all your energy directed in one swift motion, you launch the marshmallow into the fire. Ah, now I will have the perfect golden brown gooey goodness that I deserve. But no, something's wrong. The marshmallow has not become sun-kissed. It has skipped over a brown crust completely. Your marshmallow is on fire. Quickly, the white turns to black, and the smooth, supple skin turns to crusted, ashy coal. all you can do is watch as your dreams dash, your delicious dessert taken by the belly of fire. What it once held within it the seed of happiness, sugar, has now quite literally turned carcinogenic. That is what we all do to some extent. Not out of stupidity, but out of ignorance. We use all our might to act in the completely wrong way. During my last 2.5 years, I have learned time and time again that change is not a one-time fix, that lasting results do not come from a single completely draining push. I cannot throw my marshmallow into the fire if I want to make a s'more. Instead, I must grab a stick and patiently let my marshmallow cook, twirling back and forth to make sure each side is evenly roasted. Then, and only then, will I be able to enjoy the gooey goodness wrapped in graham crackers and be able to ask for some more. I have learned to slow down, to see life in a bigger picture, because for the first time, I have seen how amazing life can be. Living Wisdom High School has shown me how amazing life can be. A large part of that new understanding has been because of my friends and classmates. They have shown me what deep and meaningful relationships can look like, not based solely on shared interests or intersecting classes, but because we see the beauty that life has to offer. We share high ideals of what we want from life and how we can achieve them. I especially want to mention the senior and junior class, almost all of whom were there from my very first day at Living Wisdom High School. I have seen you all grow so much in these past few years, and I know you have seen it in me. I hope to make you all proud with who I have become and who I will continue to grow into. You have given me a gift more precious than diamonds or gold. You have given me time and time again your love and friendship, even when I made it difficult to do so. Without that, I truly believe I would never have been able to grow into who I am today. And even though we will no longer be together in the place that formed and nurtured our friendships, know that you have my heart. And for my friends that will continue on at Living Wisdom High School, I have something to ask you. While five of us will be leaving this year, you all are stepping up into a higher grade. My ask is to look to those around you who inspire you, those who change the lives of others for the better, and do your best to emulate them. The world is full enough as it is with people who only care about themselves. Do not become like them. Take a stand towards a better future, because each one of you has the power to make it a reality. This is a difficult call to action, and it is fairly so. Changing for the better is not easy, but the rewards you will gain trump every single moment of struggle. The smile of your friends, the joy in their laughs, all the light you spread will come back to you if only you are brave enough to try. And the fact is, you are. Your involvement at this school proves it. Talking about this school, why? Why out of all the schools in the Bay Area did Living Wisdom High School stand out to me? What about their website gave me so much hope? Simple. It was the people. The students looked happy and the teachers looked wise, and both have turned out to be true. Kshama, Hazi, Keshava, you three have lovingly and selflessly supported all of us here, and I am no exception. I came in with myriads of struggles, and whether you are aware of it or not, your presence alone gave me the courage to unravel some of those knots. And when I got too tangled up and would trip myself, you were there for me, even if I said I didn't want any help. You would be right there when I decided to stand back up. And now, because of your support, I am able to pass on what you have given me, even if it is only in small amounts. Every day of my life going forward has been shaped by you, in ways big and small, and I will do my best to honor your teachings. 5, 10, 15 years from now, I hope to demonstrate just how grateful I am by showing you the man I have become and the man you have helped create. Speaking of creating me, my mom and dad, you have both been there since my beginning. You watched as I, Silverback, began to crawl and walk. I would toddle around, exploring the world around me, even greeting the people with a toothless smile and a squeal. But when I would stumble or reach for a hot stove, you were there to protect me, to give me support, the support I needed to get back on my feet. These past few years have felt a lot like learning to walk. You have endlessly and lovingly supported me the whole way through, but when push comes to shove, it has been my decision. I had to choose to stand up, to walk, and that is what I've done. I have chosen to change my life for the better, and just as before, you have been there, cheering me on and keeping me out of harm's reach. But now, it is appropriate that I go further from home and step into my own life. You have both handled that transition with grace and care, even when it was challenging. even when I made it challenging. I love you both so much, and I hope you know that all I am, all the goodness I can bring into this world is because of you. So, what does come next for me? I mean, this is it. This speech, this ceremony, it marks the end of the biggest chapter of my life, the only one I've ever known. More than that, it ends the most meaningful time of my life, my time with my friends, my time with my teachers, my time at Living Wisdom High School. How could I possibly go on? Simple. I'm not Silverback. I'm not an adorable and jacked baby with no understanding of the world around me. No, I am much more than that. Every day of my life has led me here, has created me. Every time I decided I wanted to become better, every time I fell, every time I thought it was too painful to go on, and every time I stood up anyways. All those moments have created me. I am strong and insightful. I am brave and kind. I am tired of letting myself feel miserable, and I know that wherever I end up, I will use all those experiences to choose happiness, because that is who I am. That is who this school has helped forge. I am Nick. Thank you.
Hawley. James is well known for certain of his hobbies and fascinations. He is a competitive mountain biker. He roasts chili peppers. He does wonderful magic tricks, and he loves the great outdoors. But there is so much more to this young man than these aspects of his character. And if you take the time to get to know him and earn his trust, you'll be rewarded for the efforts. James is kind and considerate. He's humorous. He's a wonderful writer and an avid rabbit hole diver, surfacing with all sorts of interesting facts about the topics that he's interested in. One of the joys for me this year has been watching him work alongside a wonderful mentor and to see how much happiness, confidence, and capacity emerged. James is leaving high school optimistic and curious about his next steps. He will be starting his next chapter in Aptos, California at Cabrillo College, and we are honoring you, James, with the quality of willpower this year. Congratulations.
I first came to Living Wisdom High School 2 years ago. Over the past few years, I have learned strategies for doing work and important tasks. Strategy without effort is tragedy. To go to tragedy from success, you need strategy, but with effort and willpower. Eventually, after finding strategies, I needed to attain more willpower. During my time at Living Wisdom High School, I pushed forth in step one, creating strategy. One thing I had a hard time with was answering questions after reading. I would think, how can I answer all these questions from 20 pages of reading? I couldn't remember the questions as I read. I needed a strategy. After a bit of thought, I realized I could do the work. I was forgetting to think of solutions and was just trying to read and answer the questions like I had before, but it wasn't working. Eventually, I came up with a solution, but I needed willpower to implement the strategy. Oh, sorry. Since I came up with a strategy, I thought since I had a hard time holding all the I got that part, sorry about that. I had found a solution, but I needed willpower to implement the strategy. Personal problems, procrastination, stress, you can't always fix them first before cultivating willpower. It's called willpower for a reason. To start cultivating it, for me, I found I had to just strap myself in and start doing things, no matter how I felt. Because eventually I would get better at it and willpower would start flowing in. During my second year at Living Wisdom High School, a new problem arose. It arose as soon as school started. During summer, I had slipped into a poor sleep schedule, sometimes going to bed as late as 2 in the morning and waking up late. People would warn, "What are you going to do when school starts? You better start shifting your schedule," they would say. But I brushed it off as foolishness, thinking I would simply wake up earlier the day school starts and go to bed on time anyways. As it turned out, it wouldn't be that simple. During the beginning of the year, something changed, causing me to be late. My parents couldn't always bring me to school, and I wasn't driving it. This meant I had to wake up even earlier and bike 10 miles to school. What did I need to do as a first step? I needed to find a solution. It soon became evident I couldn't just wake up on time one day and have a reformed schedule from then on, and it was much harder to fall asleep early when I wasn't tired until at least midnight. A much-needed strategy revealed itself. The air warped, the sky spun, and an opening appeared. I looked up, and from the void, it popped out, an alarm. It fell to my feet, and with puppy eyes, it begged me to use it, and I cherished it as my friend. I will let you get me up, I said to my alarm, my savior. But it takes more than saying to make it true. It takes doing. And what would I need to do? Cultivate willpower. Now that I had found the strategy, only willpower was left to save me from tragedy. Getting up in the morning, fighting the tiredness, and lifting the weight above that pinned me to my bed wasn't pleasant. After failing a few times with the alarm, I knew I had to just get up. I had to think of what would happen if I didn't. So thrashing through the covers, in desperation, I lurched out of bed, trying to wake myself up, all the while fatigue was surging through my body, urging me to get back in bed. Well, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's kind of what it felt like at first. As I began to wake up in the morning, naturally I began to go to bed earlier and fix my sleep schedule over time. Strategy and willpower had won again in the face of tragedy. During my time at Living Wisdom High School, I gained confidence in my abilities to study, find strategies, solutions, and gain willpower. Thanks.
Ethan Gwyer. Ethan has been at Living Wisdom High School since 9th grade, and I will be entirely honest with you that I am having a lot of trouble imagining what this community will be like next year. When he steps into college, and we are left waiting for what we hope will be frequent visits. From our first conversation, the through line of his personality, which guided us to say yes to his application, was a spark of willingness, at first tentative, but unquestioningly there. Time and again, as he's navigated with willingness and increasing power the terrain of high school, literally struggling up mountains and Grand Canyon walls, disciplining his mind to the rigors of literature, math, economics, and also discovering a genuine talent and love for the visual arts. Ethan's through line to success in life has been that spark of willingness. Ethan has drawn to himself true friends and remarkable mentors. He's brought us to tears of laughter time and again. Today, we couldn't be more proud of his accomplishment and are radiant with his happiness and success. This fall, Ethan will begin his journey in higher education at Foothill College. We honor Ethan for his expression of power this year. Congratulations, Ethan.
The year is 2019, and I'm beginning my freshman year at public high school. I'm sitting in the back of the class, hoping I'm not going to be called on so no one would notice how overwhelmed I am. This was a theme throughout my first years of high school academia. I was pressured to perform at a level I thought I wasn't capable of, and after months of searching for solutions, I gave up. I gave up looking for answers, I gave up going to school, and I gave up on myself. I was defeated. For years, I was lost, not looking towards the future. In fact, I wasn't looking anywhere. I had no vision and no direction. In 2021, almost 2 years later, I began going here, Living Wisdom High School. When I joined the school, I immediately noticed that things were different. Students were smiling and laughing, and to such an extent that I became a little suspicious. But a few weeks later, you might have even caught a smile on my face, because after years, my life was finally trending upwards again. But as we know, transmogrifications take time. I've grown in ways I've never thought possible. In my freshman year, Hazi said I dressed like a hobo. Today, I officially have Hazi's words that I In fact, have style and great sense of beauty, as I wear jeans on my graduation day. At first, I had my head in the sand, coming to school whenever I felt like it, zoning out in all my classes, and being unwilling to read. There wasn't even a plan I would graduate. The teachers were waiting to see what might happen. And I don't remember this, but Hazi insists that while I may have been the latest to arrive at school, I was often the last to leave. He claims that we spent many evenings chatting until school closed at 6 p.m. I can't remember any of those conversations until a pivotal one in my life. He asked me, "Ethan, what's your plan for the future?" It was a question I'd avoided thinking about. But after Hazi painted a picture of what my future would be if I didn't change, I was catalyzed into action. There was no way I would let that happen. The next day, I met with Shama and began the path to success. For the first time in my academic career, I was beginning to imagine what success felt like. And though that took some effort, that was the price I was beginning to be willing to pay. Shama walked me through the steps I would need to take to develop academically and kept me accountable all the way through high school. She supported my professional development as I began my first job and continuously gave me the advice necessary for me to make it there, all the while overseeing my gradual academic transformation. I spent years trying to better myself. In the process, I prevailed and failed, but my mentors kept pushing me, sometimes literally. Keisha's first introduction to the school was pushing me up a mountain, and Hazi couldn't because he had collapsed his lung. For the first time in my life, I felt what it was like to be pushed physically. I never ran the mile in middle school because I thought the pain in my legs were genetic. But as he was walking beside me with his hand on my backpack, he was telling me that I could be great like my ancestors. And later, in biology, he taught me that the leg pain was just lactic acid buildup. But more than that, he's helped me become a man, and not just by guiding me in lifting weights, but in persevering through all challenges in life. So much has been thanks to the wisdom and support of my mentors. I finally stepped out of my comfort zone, accomplishing feats like public speaking, summiting tall mountains, and even performing a hip-hop adaptation of Dr. Seuss on this very stage. I've also learned how to be a better friend, take more initiative, and enjoy athletics. I've grown to take responsibility in my learning, not just by showing up, but engaging. I've learned to love writing, to love the arts, and to love the world around me. I hope that one day, Hazi will finally explain to me why there is something rather than nothing. These past 4 years, he's asked me the question and refused to answer it. Being at the school changed my life, and I am forever grateful. I've learned so much, not only about the world, but about myself, discovering strengths and passions I didn't know I had. I've made friendships that will endure beyond the school years and memories that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. Shama, Hazimak, and Keshava all challenged me to grow, saw my potential, and believed in me every step of the way. I wouldn't be standing here today without them. For that, I want to express my deepest and most sincere gratitude. And I want to extend that gratitude to my mom and my dad, who supported me during every step of this arduous journey and never stopped keeping faith in me. I love you both. Now, I can finally say I've completed high school. And though the climb wasn't easy, I can say that the view is beautiful. I'm excited to start the next path of my journey, where one day I hope to manage Citadel's hedge fund. I'm not joking. But as for now, I'm more excited for my future than I've ever been before. I'm off to college, and I'm going to pursue the things that I love while seeking independence for the first time in my life. And though today marks an ending, I know it's just the beginning. Thank you.
Layla McClure. Shares generously with everyone around her. Music, education, biology, mathematics, logic, she finds beauty in it all. It has been most impressive, however, to see her embrace the quality of courage through her high school years. Though obstacles have planted themselves in her way, she persists, she grows, she accepts, she puts out effort, introspects, and continues to move forward with tremendous grace. Layla graduates today with high honors. She has also recently earned her certification as a nurse's assistant. Layla will enjoy an internship at Ananda Valley Farm this summer as a first step towards her future. Layla, congratulations.
Challenge is a good word to describe my last year. It's probably a good word to describe many years for many people, because life is full of challenges. They start when we're little, frustration. I want to play on the iPad for 10 more minutes, and they only grow as we do. Illness, death, heartbreak. Everyone faces them at some point. And until this year, I had always agreed with something people say about challenge. It makes you stronger. Not anymore. I had never felt so defeated, so scared. I'd never seen myself become so weak before. Challenge, it seemed like you were out to crush me, so I did my best to run away, ignoring what I didn't want to face. But life insisted that I open my eyes. I said, "Nuh-uh." There was no glorious moment of bravery. It was walking into enough poles that led me to conclude, it seems like a good idea to open my eyes. So I did, and I saw challenge. I saw challenge, and I thought, what am I supposed to do with you? But it was the other way around. Challenge was the one who wanted to teach me. Challenge, you wanted to teach me to believe in myself, to persist by looking to the longer rhythms of life. Challenge builds strength gradually. After working out, your arms and legs are like jello. You are weak. But to think that you've become weaker for working out is a mistake. I learned that I had to learn not to define myself by moments of failure or success, not to focus on what could be done in a day, but on what could be done in a decade. Challenge also came to teach me to believe in others, to look to them, to let them inspire me, and to receive their friendship. When we face a challenge greater than ourselves, we are the ones who must grow to meet it. Reality won't change for us. And to grow means becoming someone we haven't been yet, which means that we must look outside of who we already are. I had so many people to look to. My friends have many beautiful qualities. Joy, good humor, dedication, and strength are just a few. Without your company and your laughter, my life wouldn't nearly be so joyful and sweet. There wouldn't have been so much lightness, even in those challenging moments. And my teachers, you are just as funny. You have great wisdom and the compassion to share it with me. And your silent example has helped me more than you know. My family, you love me, and you see the best in me through it all. This school, this community, I'm really happy to share life with you. Thank you for helping me to that point in the night where the sky begins to grow lighter rather than darker. There was a point where I began to move forward a little more often than backward, and I saw that challenge is only a part of something greater. Challenge wants to teach us that no matter how many times we fail, success is only a matter of never giving up. Challenge, you want to teach us that even when we don't understand and when we're despairing, we can still act and come one step closer to victory. Challenge, you want to teach me that no one is ever hopeless. When challenge has truly taught me all of these things, I think that I will feel free, I will trust myself, and I will see life as a great adventure. I'm not all the way there yet, but the little I've experienced makes me believe that this is true. Challenge, you gave me strength, and strength, you gave me freedom. So thank you. I have a feeling that in a few years, I will feel that for freedom, everything was worth it, because I've already seen that after great sorrow, there comes the day when we laugh again. Thank you.
Perez. Annie radiates enthusiasm. Receptivity and discernment have walked with her hand in hand also through her high school years, refining and expanding along the way. She has drawn deeply from the courses she's taken, the philosophy applied, the immersion experiences offered. She's gained inner composure and poise, self-confidence and self-acceptance. She's given back nearly as much as she's received. And there is no doubt that she will shower on her new community the same degree of blessings that we have felt in her presence here. Annie will begin her higher education studies at Lewis and Clark College in Portland, Oregon next fall. She's aiming to double major in biology and the classics. She departs living wisdom, having completed a year-long Education for Life teacher internship, as well as earning a diploma with high honors. Congratulations, Annie. We celebrate you for your quality of aspiration.
What is the purpose of education? Is it simply to learn academics or be exposed to new ideas? Is it to discover a passionate love of a subject like biology and devour a textbook cover to cover, then give multiple presentations on the subject? Or is it to discover a vehement dislike for a subject like physics and fight tooth and nail to understand the very basics of the subject? While these are perks of education, the most meaningful things that I've learned during my time in high school have been the joy of giving, devotional aspiration, and the ability to command my mind, body, and will to do as I wish. Yes, learning how to decipher a textbook is important, but these three things have helped me to become happier and more successful. Let me show you how. I'll begin with the joy of giving. I'll begin with the quality of giving. Self-obsession leads to misery. When we obsess over ourselves, we end up paying attention to deficits and inadequacies rather than victories. As we all know, that only leads to suffering. Even when we do feel good about ourselves, the happiness gained from worldly things is fleeting, melting away before we can truly enjoy it, leaving only the memory and a craving for more. But here at Living Wisdom, I found a joy that does not wane, nor melt, nor fade, and it's the joy of giving. Some may think, that makes no sense. Why would giving to someone else make me any happier? Think about this. When we are focused on ourselves, we are placed in a tiny box, absorbed entirely in me, me, me. In that state, it's hard to be aware, reason, or see things clearly. Thus, it makes it harder to respond appropriately to life. We miss opportunities, we hurt those we care about, we wind up feeling more alone. But when we focus on giving, our thinking becomes more expansive. I remember vividly how I felt the first time we went to the farm for a service project. We spent the day in service to something that had no direct benefit to us. By the end of the day, my head was clear, anxiety gremlins no longer whispering in my ear. My body felt light. It was as if all my concerns and tensions had been lifted. I couldn't believe that one experience could yield so much joy. I wanted to be in that state of mind for the rest of my life. So, was I supposed to become a farmer? No, service is not limited to the fields. Service can be smiling at a friend, completing your assignments, contributing to the workplace, just going about life with the attitude of what can I give? When living like this, life is filled with ever-new joy. Glimmers of ever-new joy eventually grow into aspiration, a yearning for the noble, true, and good, something that reminds us that we can become greater. Something that reminds us that we can become greater than we are now. But in our enthusiasm to grow, how do we discern which aspirations, which paths will take us up the mountain of our hopes? We need a roadmap for right living, and the highest expression of character can reliably be found in the stories of great saints and sages who have found the secret to happiness, and by emulation, we may find that secret ourselves. In our study of mystical literature, we learn the story of the crucifixion of Jesus. I was in awe of his humility, of his love of humanity and the divine. This awe rushed through my body and moved my heart. It's moments like these that can become a compass pointing to our highest potential. Yet aspiration isn't enough. We must have the will to enact our intentions and make them a reality. It's like a study plan. Hours spent developing the perfect strategy means nothing if we don't actually study. Repeated failure leads to discouragement, discouragement to frustration, frustration even to hopelessness. Yet it was that frustration that drove me to learn how to put out will, how to meet trials with energy, how to command mind and body. While I have not completely succeeded in this art, I try. Each moment of the day, I try to put out will. I try to concentrate deeply when reading, to push my body to move a little faster, to hold myself tall and straight in each class. I try and I try and I try once more. I fail as well, but I do not wallow in failure. I get back up. Now I'm starting to see the fruits of that discipline. I can command my mind to concentrate on any subject, no matter how little it interests me. No longer am I at the whims and fancies of my likes and dislikes. I can command my body to be still, but also to be powerful. Now in possession of myself, what else is there to fear? Why should I be scared to bear any trial when I know I have the will to face it? Life would be easier if we didn't have to face trials. But that's not how reality works. Life is a series of ever-escalating challenges, ending only with death. That realization is terrifying, but whether we face it with misery and cowardice or strength and honor is up to us. Why choose misery? Why scorn goodness? Why be a spineless worm? This is what I have discovered in 4 short years. My friends, I invite all of us to imagine. Imagine what you could do. Imagine who you could be, not tomorrow or in a month or a year, but in 10. It is never too late to start, and no one is ever a lost cause. Give heroically. Aspire for greatness. Be the master of yourself. Thank you.
Give us a moment to clear the stage, and I'll ask you also to work collaboratively together. You'll find rose petals along the aisle, and we need to make sure that everyone in the audience gets a few. So go ahead and help pass them around, front, back, everywhere. I invite you now to complete the turning of the tassel, taking it from right to left. Ooh. Friends and family, I give you the Living Wisdom High School graduating class of 2025. Friends and family, please join us in the courtyard for refreshments and celebration.